Right at the start of this, I perhaps ought to say that we will be forming a cross-party group on Wales and Europe to rejoin the European Union. And I look forward to members opposite to supporting that. Michael Heseltine was on the television the other day, and he was angry because he was saying that Brexit has wrecked the greatest achievement of Margaret Thatcher, which was the creation of the single market. He went on to say that Brexit was won on a lie and it was a deception. And that, of course, makes Farage the architect of that lie and that deception. And I suppose in biblical terms, you describe him as the arch-deceiver. And when I looked at that term, I thought I'd look at what it actually meant. Well, of course, the arch-deceiver is one who orchestrates deception, especially the devil. Well, especially but not exclusively the devil. And if you go on to deceiver, it's someone who leads you to believe something that is not true. And that is what Brexit was. Because we are now worse off, and we are getting worse, and it will get worse. Brexit is a political, economic and social cancer. The clear economic statistics agreed by nearly all the main economic monitors with no political agenda. The average Briton is nearly £2,000 per annum worse off. Loss to the UK economy is assessed at 140 billion, and it's estimated that by 2035 we will be 300 billion worse off than if we had not left the EU. And we currently have an estimated 1.8 million fewer jobs as a consequence. And at a time when globalisation is taking place throughout the world, we see the great political blocs being formed already. China, India, Russia, USA, the EU. And we're not in any of these blocs at all. We are outside all of them. Now, Nigel Farage and, of course, the Reform Party, they talk a lot about the US special relationship. In fact, rather than being in his constituency, Farage virtually lives in the US, trying to get close to the White House. Well, I have to say, in my view, I don't think there is any longer a US special relationship. What the US wants, and certainly under Trump, is they want the UK health market. That's why Farage is supportive of the privatisation of the health service. That is why he is speaking about that now. Now, Lenin had a term for people like that, and it was useful idiots. Farage is Trump's useful idiot, and he's working to see the breakup of the National Health Service, and that is a consequence of that politics. The benefit to being in the EU, particularly at this moment in time, after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a war in Europe, is that there was an interdependence and a common support that we are rapidly trying to keep going and to recreate. And we see the risks of what is happening as a result of that war. The threat were Russia to succeed in terms of Moldova, Georgia, the Baltic countries, Serbia, Poland, and the political consequences of that are significant. The other thing that membership of the EU gave us was a common and an independent governance in terms of international law and the rule of law. So things like the International Criminal Court, the European Court of Human Rights, the European Court of Justice, all those things were important because it was recognised that you cannot be the mark of your own homework, you cannot be the determinant of some certain standards that you've signed up to agreeing. And yet we have a Conservative Party that wants to actually eliminate those, that wants to actually pull out of those. And that would be an actual disaster for the common governance, for international law and for the rule of law as we know it. Wales has lost out as a result of being out of the EU. And the consequence of that is that we've had UK centralisation. One of the things we should be doing now is looking at abolishing the Internal Market Act, which was a consequence of that. But we've seen the centralisation of funding, and we've not seen the proper replacement of EU funding. And I shared all those particular views with regard to the Shared Prosperity Fund and the others, which need to be resolved. But what we did have as part of the EU was Wales had a subnational status and the ability in devolved areas of engaging on a European front at the highest level of politics. We don't have that anymore. So what are the steps forward? Well, the one thing I do welcome very much that's happening now, and now the more positive messages that are coming out, is moving towards joining the single market and the customs union. And interesting, isn't it, to see Lord Frost, that Brexiteer who so berated unelected politicians, becoming an unelected politician himself, actually saying he does no objection, he doesn't think it matters, he doesn't think that's an issue, or that it undermines Brexit. So the first step really has to be rejoining the single market. And I think there is a second step, and I will be working with this when we have this cross-party group formed. And again, there's a conference this weekend where I hope that will be announced. And that is that we have to join the EU again. And if that means a referendum, well, a decision that's been taken on a lie that you now recognise was a lie, there is no reason why the people should not have that choice again, and that is democracy also.